Hello, soulmates of still mind Dharma. Thank you for choosing to pause here, right in this very moment. Amidst a world that is always noisy and rushed, amidst the hustling currents of making a living and countless invisible expectations. Are you feeling tired? Relax your shoulders. Allow yourself to exhale a long breath, a breath carrying all the burdens, the pressures you've been carrying on your shoulders all day long, or perhaps for a long stretch of your life. How long has it been since you dared to be honest with yourself? Dared to admit that you are truly exhausted? How long has it been since you had to tell yourself that you are not allowed to be sad, not allowed to be weak, not allowed to fall?
We are living in a strange era. An era where sadness seems to be labeled as a disease that must be eradicated. An era where people teach each other to always smile, to always think positively, to always look toward the bright light. But my friend, have you ever felt that very positivity is such a heavy armor? A toxic positivity that is silently eroding the most genuine emotions inside you. By day, you put on a perfect smile, a flawless facade. You speak radiant words. You nod in agreement with the world. You try to prove that you are still fine. But when dusk falls, when the bedroom door closes, separating you from the world out there, when darkness envelops the silent space, you face yourself in the mirror and only see a soul shattering into pieces. Having to force yourself to be happy, having to force a bleeding heart to beat to the rhythm of a fake joy, is the cruelest form of inner abuse that we inflict upon ourselves.
You hear people talk about the law of attraction, about having to keep a high frequency to attract good things. So you passionately crave, you try to reprogram your mind, you hypnotize yourself, chase after peace, chase after wealth, chase after love in a silent desperation. But then, the more you crave, the more you find yourself falling into the abyss of helplessness. The harder you try to grasp, the more everything slips through your fingers. That is the suffering of unfulfilled desires, the ultimate pain of longing for something unattainable, the tragedy of an ego struggling to control the vast universe. You crave glory, you crave happiness, but you use the very lack and fear from within to go searching. How can a cup full of the muddy water of trauma hold the crystal clear water of peace? We have been mistaken for too long. We mistakenly believe that spirituality is an instant painkiller, a miracle to escape from the harsh reality. But the truth is that shallowness only makes the wounds fester more under the bandage of a forced smile.
Today, right in this safe space, we will together uncover a paradoxical truth of the universe, a law that you may have never heard of or have been avoiding. That is, only when you stop chasing will everything truly find its way to you. That is, pain is not a punishment, but a privilege. Pain is the most sacred gate to lead you into true spiritual awakening. Because you cannot heal something that you dare not touch. You cannot see the light of truth if you keep refusing to embrace the shadows within you. Stop trying to be happy if your heart is crying. Stop trying to be strong if your legs are weary. Let the masks fall. Let the awakening begin. You are not alone on this journey. I am here. This voice is here. to walk with you through the dark realms of the soul, to find the inherent stillness of a life without craving, without clinging.
There is a subtle truth that we rarely realize. That is, when we force ourselves to think positively, we are committing an act of denying reality. Buddhist teachings call it attachment, or in other words, it is the most subtle form of clinging that makes our souls bleed. You cling to an idea that life must always be filled with light, that you must always be radiant, must always be at the peak of emotions. But my friend, this universe inherently operates under the law of impermanence. Where there is day, there must be night. Where the moon waxes, it must wane. The 4 seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter constantly rotate to the rhythm of heaven and earth. Human emotions also take the shape of waves, sometimes rising high and surging, and sometimes retreating to the deepest depths of stillness. Forcing yourself to always be happy is like standing before the ocean and forbidding the waves from crashing ashore. It is a resistance against the natural flow of creation, and that resistance is the root of all suffering. In the lens of Buddhism, there is a profoundly deep concept called emptiness. Emptiness does not mean blankness, does not mean things do not exist, but it means no phenomenon or emotion has a fixed, unchangeable nature. Pain in itself is not a bad thing. Sadness in itself is not a disease to be eradicated. It is our judgmental mind that has labeled them as negative. It is the craving to eliminate them immediately that has turned a perfectly natural emotion into a heavy boulder pressing on your left chest. Toxic positivity is when you refuse to look at that boulder. You turn away and deceive yourself with empty slogans that the boulder doesn't even exist. But the truth is, the boulder is still there. The darkness still lurks there. And the more they are suppressed, the deeper they take root in the subconscious, silently draining your vitality.
Close your eyes for a moment and envision a calm lake deep in the forest. A true lake is not a place that only contains pure distilled water, but at its deepest bottom there is always the presence of mud, of moss, of decaying dry branches. But the lake does not chase away the mud. It accommodates everything with a vast stillness. It lets the mud quietly settle to the bottom, making way for the crystal clear water to fully reflect the blue sky. Our minds are the same. True peace does not come from you holding a sword to destroy all pain or sorrow. Peace comes from the capacity to accommodate, from opening your heart to be tolerant of your own wounds, letting them settle and blending into the pristine stillness of the soul. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once left a profoundly poignant teaching: no mud, no lotus. You cannot sprout a fragrant lotus on a smooth, sterile marble slab. The lotus can only root itself in the thick, foul-smelling black mud, absorbing nutrients from that very filth to rise above the water, blooming the purest, most radiant petals. Your pain, the darkest hidden corners that you are trying so hard to hide, is that sacred mud. If you reject the mud, you are also single-handedly stripping away the seed of awakening. Pain is not an enemy. Pain is the greatest teacher, carrying the message of the universe, reminding you that there is a part inside that is shattered and needs you to return and embrace it.
Look at the massive rocks standing firm amidst 1,000 storms. When lightning tears across the sky, when the wind howls and the rain pours down, the rock does not scream, does not panic, nor does it try to use its strength to chase away or run from the storm. It just stands there, solid and accepting. It lets the storm pass over its surface. When you stop running, when you stop using the law of attraction as a tool of a craving ego, everything will change.
People often talk about the law of attraction to desire, to cling to good things, to fill the deep void of lack inside. But they forget the Buddhist law of non-self. The more you cling to the words, I want, I need, I must be happy, the more your ego inflates, and the more you are imprisoned in the gilded cage of that very craving. Only when you practice non-self, letting go of the desire to control everything, letting go of forcing the universe to revolve around your will, that is when you touch the state of absolute freedom. Stopping the chase is not a pessimistic surrender, is not leaving things to the mercy of fate. Stopping the chase is the highest state of awakening and trust, is when you do everything with the purest, most wholehearted mind, but are completely unattached to the outcome. You just plant good seeds. You just water the garden of your soul with unconditional love, and the flowers will bloom on their own. The harvest will naturally be fruitful. All good connections will naturally find you at their most perfect timing. Just like a flower quietly emitting its fragrance, bees and butterflies will naturally fly to it. You don't have to force yourself to attract anything from the outside. When your mind is empty of petty cravings, empty of illusions about a flawless happiness, that is when you have enough space to contain the entire universe.
True healing only begins at the exact moment you dare to relax your body. Take a deep breath and softly whisper to yourself, right now, I am in so much pain. I am so sad. And that is completely okay. Accepting imperfection, accepting the brokenness inside, is when you step down from the stage of an exhausting play. You stop playing the role of someone who is always fine, and no longer need to be a warrior constantly struggling to fight the darkness. You become an observer, gentle, compassionate, and deeply empathetic with yourself. And from the ultimate depths of pain, when the last shell is broken, the light of wisdom will flood in, soothing all wounds with the purest kind of love. Let me tell you a story that has drifted through the dim dust of time, but reflects most authentically our own image in this modern world. The story tells of a traveler carrying in his left chest a bleeding wound, an unnamed pain. People rumored that way up on the misty mountain peak there was a sacred temple covered by an eternal light, a place where there was only bliss, only laughter, where all sorrows would vanish the moment one set foot. And so, with a burning desire to escape the torment of his inner self, the traveler packed his bags, beginning a journey of escape.
The traveler told himself, not allowed to look back, not allowed to down at the inflamed wound. Every time the pain flared up, he would hold his head high, put on a radiant smile, and repeatedly chant mantras of fake peace. He raced against the sun, trying to walk as fast as possible into places with the most blinding light, because he believed that the light would chase away the darkness inside him. But there was a cruel paradox. The more he stepped out into the brilliance, his shadow cast on the ground became darker and clearer than ever. That shadow was the pain, the self-pity, the darkest part that he was frantically abandoning. He was terrified of his own shadow, so he ran even faster. He exhausted his last ounce of vitality to chase the illusion of the joy-filled mountain peak. He forced himself to be a strong man, a man who knew no sorrow. But then, on a cold, misty afternoon, when the sunset was swallowed by pitch-black clouds, a forest storm struck. The roaring thunder tore through the space. The large, freezing raindrops whipped against his skin, falling heavily on the carpet of decaying dry leaves. Darkness enveloped everything, and in that moment, when the light completely went out, the forced smile on the traveler's lips also shattered. His legs gave way. His whole body collapsed into the mud, desolate and full of despair.
Amidst the pouring forest rain, through the salty tears mixed with rainwater, he faintly saw a tiny flicker of fire coming from a ruined, abandoned shrine. He dragged his heavy steps towards that light. Stepping over the rotting wooden threshold, an old, musty scent of incense rushed straight into his senses, bringing a heartbreakingly profound silence. Under the dim moonlight seeping through the broken roof tiles, there was an old Zen master sitting with his eyes closed, as motionless as a 1,000-year-old rock. The Zen master did not burn more wood to chase away the cold, nor did he chant scriptures to drown out the loud thunder outside. He just sat there, blending into the darkness, letting the chill of the rain permeate the space. The traveler burst into tears, a sobbing cry, bursting out after so many days of suppression. He fell to his knees, trembling as he spoke. "Master, I went looking for the light. I tried to keep my mind always happy. I did everything to focus on the good things. But why? Why am I still in so much pain? Why won't the shadow of despair let me go?" The Zen master slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were as clear and calm as an autumn lake. He did not rush to comfort. He also did not advise the traveler to be strong. He just slowly poured a cup of tea from a chipped terracotta teapot, gently pushing it toward the person opposite him.
"Drink it, my child." His voice was warm and deep, echoing amidst the pattering rain. The traveler lifted the teacup. The fragile warmth transferred through his freezing fingers. He took a sip. A bitterly harsh, astringent taste rushed straight up to his throat, making him grimace. The Zen master smiled softly, a gentle, tolerant smile, containing the understanding of heaven and earth. "Your pain is as bitterly astringent as this sip of tea," he spoke, each word as light as a feather. "You try to add sugar, you try to drink it really fast to swallow down the bitterness, but then the bitterness remains the bitterness. The more you resist, the more your throat chokes on the bitterness." He raised his hand, pointing out to the blinding rain outside, where the darkness was embracing the forest. "Look, does that ancient tree over there run away from the rain? Does the sky tonight reject its darkness to demand the sunlight? Darkness was not born to destroy the light, and sadness does not appear to strip away joy. Your shadow is a part of your own flesh and blood. When you run away from the shadow, you are turning your back on your very own existence. You are holding a knife to cut away half of your soul." The Zen master gently patted the traveler's shoulder, a tender touch like melting the freezing ice in his heart.
Stop running, my child. Just sit down here. Enjoy the full bitterness of this cup of tea with me. Listen clearly to the growling of the storm with me. Let yourself be in pain. Let the wound speak. Only when you dare to embrace your shadow in ultimate silence will the light of awakening truly be lit from within. The traveler sat in stunned silence. For the first time in his life, he didn't try to smile anymore. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath of the musty incense scent, and allowed the tears to just fall freely. Strangely, right in the moment he accepted to drop his weapons and surrender, right when he stopped craving to be happy, a miraculous, profound, and unprecedented peace suddenly found its way to him, comforting his scarred heart. No miracle took place. No radiant halo appeared to erase the rain. The storm outside still continued to howl. The teacup in his hand still bore an astringent bitterness. But there was one thing that had permanently changed. That was the mindset of the person facing the storm. True peace does not lie at the end of the road of escape, but it lies right at the stopping point, when we dare to close our eyes, open our arms, and fully embrace the darkest realms of our own souls. My friend, darkness is not scary. The scariest thing is that we keep refusing to light a candle of empathy right at the place where darkness reigns.
The story of the traveler and the bitter cup of tea is not a distant streak of nostalgia from the past. It is the shadow of you, of me, of all of us. People who are struggling through each day. People who have to cloak themselves in the cape of strength to hide a soul that is trembling from traumas that have never been named. Today, as you listen to these words, I know you are exhausted. You have read dozens of books on positive thinking. You have tried to close your eyes and imagine a brilliant future. You have tried to practice gratitude even when your heart is shattering. But then, the emptiness still clings to you like an inseparable shadow. So, right at this moment, let's try to do the exact opposite. Something that might go against everything the world out there is teaching you. Let's practice befriending the darkness together, a concept the West calls shadow work, but which carries the deep breath of awakening and compassion in Buddhism. The first step of this journey is incredibly simple, but requires an immense amount of courage from you. That is, allow yourself to pause. Stop trying to fix yourself. Stop labeling sadness as a terrible thing. Stop forcing yourself to smile when your eyes are stinging.
You know, healing does not begin with a triumphant shout. Healing begins with a sigh, a drooping of the shoulders, a secret confession that I am not okay. And that is completely allowed. When an uncomfortable emotion arises, a feeling of self-pity, a wave of anger, or a gut-wrenching loneliness, our natural reflex is to find a way to extinguish it. We scroll through our phones, we bury ourselves in work, we seek out shallow amusements. But today, I want you to try doing it differently. Sit down, right where you are, present. Gently close your eyes and direct all your attention inward to your body. Find out where that uncomfortable emotion is residing. Is it a lump in your throat, an invisible weight pressing on your chest, or a tingling restlessness in your stomach? Don't try to change it. Don't chant mantras to chase it away. Just simply observe it. Like you are sitting on the porch, watching an uninvited guest arrive. The guest named Pain is knocking on the door of the house of your mind.
The Buddha taught us about the contemplation of feelings, which means acknowledging every sensation that arises without any judgment. Roll out a compassionate welcome to that guest. Whisper in your mind that, I see you, I know you are here. I know you are bringing a message from the deepest part of me. When you stop resisting, a miraculous thing will happen. The wall separating you and the pain will dissolve, and you will realize that this pain was not born to harm you. This pain is actually just a wounded inner child, crying out to be embraced, to be understood, to be listened to. Use your breath as an invisible embrace. Breathe in, I know I am in pain. Breathe out, I embrace this pain with all my love. Just like that, no greater effort is needed. You just breathe, just observe, and let that emotion freely express itself. If tears want to fall, just let them fall. Don't wipe them away hastily. Every teardrop is a cleansing, is the mud being churned up to make way for the lotus bud to sprout.
Then you will see, according to the universe's law of impermanence, no storm lasts forever. No emotion is immutable. When the guest named Pain has been fully listened to, when it has finished delivering its message, it will automatically leave, smoothly and gently. That is true letting go. Letting go is not throwing away. Letting go is not using force to push back. Letting go is when your hand is tightly gripping a red-hot coal. Instead of bracing yourself to endure it, you just need to gently open your fingers. The coal will fall on its own, and your hand will be liberated. The journey of working with the shadow is a long journey of patience and compassion. There will be days you find yourself sliding back. There will be days the darkness strikes again. But that's okay. Every time you dare to face it is a time the shell of arrogance is chipped away, is a time your soul is expanded, enough to contain the entire realm of human life. Right here and now, in this tranquil space, if there is a sigh you are trying to hide, if there is a teardrop welling up at the corner of your eye, leave it in the comment section of this video.
Stop forcing yourself. Stop fearing the judgmental gaze of the world. Let this place be a sanctuary for your honesty. You can write down a sorrow, a weariness, or simply an invisible dot to prove that you have dared to face your own darkness. We are here, strangers from all over, sharing the same heartbeat of trauma and the craving to heal. We will not advise you to cheer up. We will not force you to think positively. We will simply sit beside you, read your confidences, and send you the warmest invisible hug. Only when we dare to share our weakest parts do we truly touch the greatest inner strength of a human being. Remember, the universe does not require you to be perfect. The universe only hopes you will be honest with yourself. When you stop chasing a flawless version, your most beautiful, most peaceful version will automatically knock on your door. Amidst the mud of trauma, a flower of wisdom and peace is quietly sprouting.
We are reaching the final beats of this tranquil flow. But the end of an essay is precisely the beginning of a true journey of transformation within you. Right now, as you are relaxing your mind and your breathing, do you realize that the space around you seems to be becoming gentler, more tolerant? That is not because the world out there has changed, but because your eyes are no longer tainted with craving and resistance. Dear friend, we have spent a whole lifetime busily chasing after the illusions of happiness. We think that happiness is a glorious destination, is a massive fortune, is a flawless, perfect love, is the admiration of millions of strangers. We use every law, use even forced positivity to cling to attract those things towards us. But you see, the more we try to fill it, the deeper the void of emptiness is carved out. Because how can we fill something inherently invisible with the visible, material things of the world?
The Buddha's teachings from ancient times, all things are impermanent, all phenomena are non-self. This universe does not operate by the forced will of individuals. The universe operates by a natural flow of cause and effect and dependent origination. When you apply the law of attraction with an eye full of fear and lack, you are only broadcasting into the airwaves a frequency of poverty and craving. And the universe, with its honest reflecting mirror, will send back to you exactly that lack under myriad forms of disappointment and helplessness. But when you understand the paradoxical law of letting go, everything will take a completely different turn. Stopping the chase does not mean you abandon your dreams or life goals. Stopping the chase means you abandon the attachment to the outcome, abandon the heavy burden of having to become someone truly great, abandon the pressure to always live in the halo of positivity.
you return to being an ordinary person, a mortal of flesh and blood who knows pain, knows sadness, knows how to shed tears when hurt. But that ordinariness is the greatest magnificence of the soul, because you have dared to live authentically in every breath.
When you allow yourself to be sad without judgment, you are practicing meditation in every moment. When you embrace the darkness within with love, you are performing the deepest healing that no medicine can replace. When you are completely still, not wishing for the past to return, not expecting the future to be paved with roses, you touch the absolute awakening of the present. And right at that moment when your mind is completely empty, you become a vast valley. According to the laws of nature, water always flows to the lowest point. When you are a valley with no more arrogant ego, no more clinging resistance, all blessings, all peace, and the very best destinies of heaven and earth will automatically pour towards you. True prosperity, true peace, do not come from you trying to chase after them. They come from you cleaning up the house of your mind, throwing wide open the doors that were closed out of fear, sweeping away the hazy dust of inner deceit. You only need to prepare a neat space, light a candle of awakening, arrange a flower of compassion, and then all good things will naturally know how to find their way to knock on your door.
Tonight, or even today, when you step out of this stream of sound, I hope you will take off that heavy armor. Just let the bare face of your soul be exposed, even if it is crisscrossed with scars. Those scars are medals of honor, proving that you have lived, have fought, have shattered, and have healed yourself with an extraordinary strength. You don't need to search for peace in some distant nirvana. Peace lies right in your breath, right in the heartbeat slowly echoing in this chest. As long as you stop resisting, as long as you smile and accept all phenomena in motion, then right in the midst of a sea of life full of storms, you are still an island of tranquil refuge. Thank you for allowing this voice to comfort your soul throughout this time. Thank you for bravely facing the darkest hidden corners of yourself. If you feel that this garden of the soul brings you solace and shelter, please leave a subscribe button, not as an exchange, but as a thread of good karma connecting us on the path of practice and transformation. Each of your companionships is a small prayer sent into the universe that we will never have to walk alone in the darkness.
Closing these whispers, I send you a respectful pressing of the palms, wishing you, no matter how many ups and downs of human life you go through, will still keep a soft heart, a tolerant gaze even for your own imperfections. Wishing you always peace, a light heart, and enough awakening to pass through all the sufferings in life. Goodbye, and see you again at our next peaceful sanctuaries.